Trans men versus conservative men. Let's go.
Biology determines gender.
So biology, I 100% believe in biology. Today we talk about biology being a social construct. I disagree with that. I was born biologically female. I always acknowledge that. And today I live as a male. The minute I start denying your biology, now you feel attacked by me. Right. And I don't want you to feel attacked by me. I never want you to feel, I want to be a part of. You don't have to agree with my choice of how I live my life, but all I ask for is respect.
Yes, Buck, go get him. If you didn't know, Buck Angel is a well-known transsexual activist. He is one of the first transsexual from female to male porn stars, and he is absolutely iconic and one of my favorite people. Buck is also critical of the current radical trans community that we see right now, and I love him.
I love that people can live their best life. I'll never, ever in my life protest or try to go against a person who wants to identify. The problem is when you begin to try to change language and you begin to try to change reality, and then therefore it changes on the children, and all of that becomes problematic.
This is Brandon Tatum, a popular conservative content creator on YouTube, and I used to be a fan of his and then follow him. I don't anymore because of him being extremely religious. And the whole I don't believe in homosexuality thing, not my cup of tea. But he was respectful and he did amazing in this entire debate, so good for you, Brandon.
With trans folks, biology does change. Our bone density does change. Our muscle structure does change. Our testosterone levels do change. So biologically, we do change.
Oh no, you can't change your biology. It doesn't matter if you change your entire hormonal structure in your body, remove or change your reproductive system, your biological sex is determined by your mature reproductive cells. Trans men are on synthetic testosterone because their bodies, they naturally want to produce estrogen. That's the whole point. Trans men are still female even if they get their reproductive system removed, because they still cannot produce sperm.
You will never get male productive organs.
Now, when you think about it, the male and female productive organs are similar. They're different. Right. They're different in size.
Even if...
Okay, biologically.
And they're different in functionality, too.
Not necessarily, because the testes and the ovaries are very much similar. One is an egg, one is a fertilizer.
Where are you going with this? Why do you feel the need to do that thing that trans activists do, where they are trying to erase and redefine what it means to be a transsexual? That's sending a signal that someone who is having a certain biological sex, living life as the opposite, makes you feel ashamed or offended because you're constantly trying to debunk it. Which is really ironic because I'm the one being accused of hating myself for being trans.
If you had to look at the difference between us and between you, now would that difference be the lack of a penis?
If we were naked.
If we minimize it, because this is where we're going, is anatomy, right? So do your penises make you more men than us?
Yes. What he's trying to say is all the people in that room are men, even though half of the people don't have a penis. Now, it's just another way to say that trans men are men, and that's simply not a true and factual statement. But it is true that real transsexual men who look and sound completely as men, and people, strangers, or people who don't know them, they would never know in a million years that they were born a girl, they are in every single social situation seen as men. That's why I prefer to say trans men are trans men. It acknowledges our gender biologically and socially. It's a win-win.
It's not a spectrum, so it's not a question that we can answer, because you're saying on the spectrum, would this make us more of a man than you? But no, it's because we are a man and you guys aren't.
So we're not men, is exactly what you just said.
In my view, you guys are appropriating the gender and you are living as a man, but biologically you are not a man. When it comes down to asking questions that make me start to change what the truth is and what the truth isn't, putting it on a spectrum when it's an objective truth, that's where I draw the line.
The argument is that people try to invalidate who we are with that. I'm not saying that you guys are doing that, but a lot of society in the world does that. Well, biologically you're female. what hurts trans people that people don't realize what they're doing is it's very harmful. You got to be aware of what you're saying and what you're putting out there.
First of all, if your arguments are based on the objective truth and reality, you shouldn't be careful or be aware when presenting them, because it's not your responsibility how others might react on it. And speaking of responsibility, you're only responsible for what you say and not what other people say. So therefore, it's not your responsibility to distance yourself from bad people if you are in fact not a bad person. In my opinion, the trans guy with the earrings, he's trying to use vulnerable people in order to control speech. And I don't think that's okay.
Children should be allowed to transition.
You should allow children to feel what they feel. Now, I know we're talking about transitioning. It doesn't always have to be hormones. I think that children should be allowed to express themselves in whatever way makes them feel comfortable.
You really think the question was, should kids be allowed to express themselves however they want? The question was rooted in the physical aspect of a transition. How are children gonna express themselves freely if they medically transition? Where is the freedom to be whoever you want to be and to explore life and your gender if they're on puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, or even get surgeries? So let me get this straight. The narrative within the trans community is you don't need to go through a medical transition in order to be valid, yet a medical transition is the only thing that validates trans kids.
Kids are struggling to be who they are. There's literally being laws put in place to prevent them from being who they are, and that's not right. That's not right.
So you're admitting that who they are is entirely based on them going through a physical medical transition. Oops. According to all 11 long-term studies ever done on gender dysphoric children, conclude that between 60 and 90% of the children desist by puberty. And that's all I have to say on why kids shouldn't receive medical intervention.
Transition can mean many things for children. Now, I totally, as a transsexual person, disagree with giving children hormone blockers, medication, surgery, but what I do agree with is socially transitioning. But I do believe gender dysphoria exists in children. I had it, 100% it's there. But to give medication to a child is so unethical to me that you would actually, you're exactly what you said, you're stunting brain growth, you're stunting all of these things. They don't have enough research on it.
Can I get an amen?
You have to teach your children to have balance, because if you just want mommy and daddy to acquiesce to everything you want, that's not reality. You have to understand that mom and dad may not see me this way. They love me. I see myself this way, and I disagree with how they speak to me or how but I love them as well.
Yeah, I agree. Life is tough, and not a single group of people can ever get away from that fact. Sorry. So that was my reaction to Trans Men versus Conservative Men Middle Ground episode. Bug Angel, without a doubt, won this debate. The fact that he sat down, meaning that he agrees with biology determines your gender, is mind-blowing. Maybe mind-blowing for the viewers, but think about the conservative men sitting there with him. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like button if you want to see Bug Angel having a conversation with me on this channel. How cool would that be? And see you in my next video. Peace out.